This video will analyze the guitar and bass parts that appear in the intro and bridges of the song. A tab sheet of the guitar parts will briefly be displayed after their respective analysis. A demo of the intro will be featured about halfway through the video. A demo of bridge 1 will close out the video. The tuning used in this video and on the record is E flat and 440 wavelength calibration. If you're unsure how to tune to E flat, please watch the video, E flat tuning and enharmonic notes for guitar and bass by Marc Wilson. The intro is going to be a 2-measure long riff pattern that gets played 8 times in sequence. That equals 16 total measures. We'll begin by placing the 3rd finger on the D string at the 4th fret. We'll pick this note down on 1 to start the riff pattern. That's going to ring out as an 8th note. On the anbeat or the upbeat right after 1, we're going to go with the 1st finger to the low E string at the 2nd fret and pick that note upwards. This is an 8th note tied to a quarter note on 2. In short, it rings out for 3/8 of the measure. What these notes are octaves. They're both the pitch of F sharp. On 3, we're going to go back to the higher pitched note with that 3rd finger and pick this down. It rings out as a quarter note. We'll pick that same note again down on 4, but this time it rings out as an 8th note. And to finish up the first measure, we're going to go back to the 1st finger on that lower pitched note, the lower octave, and pick that up. This is an 8th note, which will be tied to 1 on the next measure. So with the 4-count lead in, this is what the first measure is going to sound like. And it's going to be at a very rapid pace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. And now we've reached the 2nd measure. The 1st finger should still be on the low E string at the 2nd fret, and this note should still be ringing out from the end of the previous measure. It's going to be tied to 1 to start this measure, which is a quarter note. On 2, we're going to go back to the higher pitched octave and pick that note down and let it ring out as a quarter note. On 3, we'll pick that note down again, but this time it rings out as an 8th note. On the anbeat or upbeat after 3, we're going to go back to the lower pitched octave and pick that upwards. Okay, this is an 8th note tied to a quarter note on 4 to finish up the 2nd measure. So with the 4-count lead in, this is what the 1st and 2nd measures in sequence sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4. Let's run through all 16 measures in sequence just one time. I won't count aloud as I play. I'm just going to give you the 4-count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. The song actually starts out at a double time pace and shifts to a half-time feel right after the intro and remains that way right up until the outro. If you listen closely to the beginning of the song, a snare flam is hit right before the song starts. This flam would actually be hit on the 4th beat of a 4-count lead-in, which signals the band to enter on 1 of the next measure. The band enters on the crash of a cymbal. The drummer will need to give a lead-in with 3 clicks of the drumsticks and then flam on 4. Remember, the drummer is setting the pace of the song when this is being done. Just to quickly illustrate, the drummer is going to visualize the song in his head and give 3 quick clicks with the sticks and then do a double snare flam on 4. So here's what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on 1, that crash cymbal, that's where the band enters the song. This may look like just 2 measures on paper, but it's actually all 16 measures of the intro on guitar. The yellow highlight at the beginning of the first measure and at the end of the second measure are repeat signs. we're going to play these two measures 8 times in sequence to get our 16 measures. Also, this part is going to appear again as the outro at 3 minutes and 25 seconds. The bass is going to double the guitar note for note, so the tab sheet will be the same. If using a pick, refer to the previous segment and pick the bass using the same count and picking pattern as the guitar. Here's a quick once through of the intro on bass. I'm not going to count aloud as I play, I'll just give you the 4 count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. The same part played as the intro will appear again as the outro at 3 minutes and 25 seconds. The music will shift back to a double time feel, although it will not feel or sound that way. The bridge first appears at 22 seconds. Guitar 1 is going to follow a 1 measure long riff pattern that gets played 8 times in sequence. The first 4 times Guitar 1 will be unaccompanied. We're going to work off of the F-sharp 5 power chord and ghost notes. The F-sharp 5 power chord is where the first finger is the root note on the low E string at the 2nd fret. To start out our riff pattern, the first 2 notes are going to be 8th notes counted 1 and, both with down strokes, off of the power chord. The next 2 beats, 2E, okay, these are 16th notes picked down and up. These are going to be ghost notes. All we're doing is releasing the pressure on the strings with our fingers and touching them to dead them out. So they produce a clicking noise like this. Okay, on the and beat, after E, we're going to play the F-sharp 5 power chord again with the downward stroke. This is an 8th note. We'll follow that with another 8th note and a downward stroke on 3. So with a 4 count lead in, this is what our riff pattern sounds like so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3. Now to finish up the riff pattern, we're going to play 6 more 16th notes with alternate picking. It'll be counted and a 4 and a. So with the 4 count lead in, let's just do the 1 measure long riff pattern 1 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and a. The bridge will appear again at 2 minutes and 52 seconds right after the guitar solo. In the second bridge, all 8 measures are going to be played exactly the way we just played the first one. But in the first appearance of the bridge at 22 seconds, we're going to break on 3, the last time through, the 8th measure that is. We're going to leave off those 6 ghost notes. What we're going to do there instead is let the bass and the drums accent together to signal the first verse. So with the 4 count lead in, let's run through the first bridge just 1 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. During the bridges and the interlude, a wah pedal is definitely being used on the guitar. It will still sound alright without it, but definitely will sound better with it. I can't honestly tell whether it's just being used on the power chord downstrokes of the riff pattern or if it's being steadily pumped on all the eighth notes. It's just a matter of hooking up a pedal and trying out both methods to see which approach works the best. This is all 8 measures of the bridge as it appears at 22 seconds on guitar 1. The first measure is going to be played 7 times in sequence as indicated by the yellow highlight at the beginning and ending of the first measure. Those are repeat signs. What appears to be the second measure on paper is actually the 8th measure. What we're going to do there is break on 3, and the bass guitar and the drums are going to accent together to signal the first verse. The bridge is going to appear a second time at 2 minutes and 52 seconds right after the guitar solo. We're going to play all 8 measures of the second bridge exactly like the first measure. It doesn't sound like any secondary guitar parts were overdubbed in the song. This is especially evident during the solo. It doesn't mean that a second guitar can't effectively be added to play the song in a band. The challenge is to do so in a way that will complement the music and not crowd out the bass and drums. A good way to do this during a bridge is for guitar 2 to break with the bass and drums to start the bridge and then re-enter when they do. Emptiness and fullness often complement each other in music. Although guitar 2 will be playing the same part as guitar 1, this works with the rhythm section to enhance it. It's not a competition to get notes in. Remember that less is more. The bridge first appears at 22 seconds right after the intro of the song. The bridge appears for the second time at 2 minutes and 52 seconds right after the solo. In both cases, the rhythm guitar was working off of single note rhythms. So what we're going to do on guitar 2 to start the bridge is we're going to accent on a single note, that's the F sharp note, with the first finger on the low E string at the 2nd fret. That's on the 1 beat. We'll pick that down, and that's actually accenting with the same note on the bass guitar and a crash cymbal on the drums. We're going to remain at rest with the bass and drums for the remaining 7/8 of the measure, as well as the next 3 measures while guitar 1 carries out the rhythm unaccompanied. We're going to enter with the drums and bass on the 5th measure and double guitar 1 for the rest of the bridge. Okay, what I'm going to do is give you a 4-count lead in, and what I'll do is I'll accent on the first note of the first measure and continue counting through the 4 measures where we're at rest. And on the 5th measure where guitar 2 enters, I'll just play the rhythm without counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, also keep in mind that the second time that we play the bridge, 2 minutes and 52 seconds, we're going to double guitar 1 the same way in measures 5 through 8. The difference is the 8th measure is being played exactly the same way as all the previous measures. This is the bridge as it appears on guitar 2 at 22 seconds right after the intro of the song. Notice on 1 that guitar 2 hits a F sharp note and breaks for the remaining 7/8 of that measure. On that first beat, you're actually going to accent with the bass guitar and a crash cymbal on the drums. The second measure has a repeat sign at the beginning and ending of that measure. And what you have there is a whole note rest. We're going to rest for 3 measures. We'll enter with the bass and drums on the 5th measure, which appears to be the 3rd measure on paper. We're going to play that measure 3 times as indicated by those repeat signs. And on the 8th measure, which appears to be the fourth measure on paper, we're going to break on 3, and that's where the drums and bass are going to do a quick fill to signal the first verse. When this part appears again at 2 minutes and 52 seconds, right after the guitar solo, we're not going to break on that 8th measure. You're going to play ghost notes and keep driving. The bass is going to double guitar 2 note for note, so the tab sheet will be the same. If using a pick, refer to the previous segment and pick the bass using the same count and picking pattern as guitar 2. Here's a quick once through of bridge 1 on the bass. I'm not going to count aloud as I play. I'll just give you the 4 count lead in and continue counting through the first 4 measures where the bass is resting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. The bridge will appear twice in the song. The first appearance will be at 22 seconds. The second appearance will be right after the solo at 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Bridge 2 is going to be extended by 4 extra measures. At 3 minutes and 14 seconds, the drums will switch back to the same part played during the intro, while the guitars and bass continue to play the same riff pattern used in the bridge for these additional 4 measures. At 3 minutes and 25 seconds, the guitars and bass will change to the riff pattern used during the intro. The music actually shifts back to a double time feel at this point, at least on paper, although it will not feel or sound this way.